organizing, from our graphic organizer, you had your opinion sentence, you had your reasons with evidence from the text, and a conclusion. So I can tell that you were great listeners during our lessons on opinion writing, and I can't wait to see what we come up with next for our next writing assignment. So nice work. Well, that actually brings us, let me come back to this. That brings us to what we're going to be working on today. Actually, real quick, let's do a reminder. So your assignments, try to make sure your DLA is done before we meet, and you checked it on Schoology. Today you have another verbs assignment. This is future tense. That means it's going to happen later. Has not happened yet. It's not happening now. It will happen later. And then Moby Max, we're going to do one more week of EA, and this time the sound is the long A sound, like in the word steak or break. So that's what you're going to work on today. Okay, this week we're going to be working on looking for or identifying story elements, and I'll tell you what that means in a minute, of narrative writing. And so what is narrative writing? Well, it's a fiction story. That means it's made up, and it includes the story elements of characters, a setting, a problem, events, which sometimes we refer to as the plot, and a solution. So what are all of those things? Well, characters are the animals or people in a story. The setting is the place, and it can also include the time, like winter, summer, fall, or night, or morning, or yesterday, or today, or the places that they might be, the beach, outer space, the forest, things like that. That is your setting. The problem is a challenge that a character is presented with in the story, something that they have to either figure out or they have to overcome. Something, it could be good, it could be bad. It just depends on the story. And then the events are the plot part of the story. This is the most important part. It's all of the actions that a character goes through when they are solving a problem. And then the solution is how the character ends up solving the problem at the end of the story. So what we're going to do today is we're going to listen to a story, and on your whiteboard, so hopefully you have something. If you don't have a whiteboard, just a paper or a pencil would work too. I'm going to read you a story that you are going to look for these elements in. As I read, you're going to look for who the characters in this story are, the setting, so where is the story taking place? It could be a place or a time. What is the problem of the story? And the events, I forgot to put solution in there. How did I forget the solution? So the events that happen and then the solution. That's how did the character solve the problem in the story. And then we'll talk about those. So I'm going to show you where I'm going to find this story, because this is going to be a website we're going to start using. It's in your Clever account. It's called Get Epic. Okay, so if you haven't been into your Epic account yet, it's in Clever. Again, mine kind of looks a little different than yours. So it has those little books. You'll click on that, and then it'll bring you to, well, it may ask for our class code. Mine just brings me right in, but our class code, and I will always put this in Schoology, is IGE6994. And then all of you are in here, so you would just find your name and click on you, and you will be able to get into it. So I'm going to come to my account, and I'm going to type in a story called New Shoes, because this is the one I'm going to read to you right now. And while I read this, I want you to think about who the characters are. Where are they? What is the setting? What is the problem that these characters go through? And some of the events that happen to lead to the solution, how they end up solving their problem. And you can get to this story in Epic as well. So this story basically is about a little girl who has she gets her brother's hand-me-down shoes. That means the brother's shoes got too small for him, and so he passes them down to his little sister. And those shoes really don't fit her very well, so she says it is time for Ella May to get new shoes. So let's see what happens. Okay, I'm gonna move in so I can read it a little bit. Okay, my cousin Charlotte, oops, is that the beginning? Hold on, guys. Let's see if we can see a little better. Okay, my cousin Charlotte hands me the package as we stand outside Johnson's shoes. If you could have any shoes in this window, I ask, which ones would you choose? Those, Charlotte says, pointing to red sandals. What about you, Ella May? Today I choose saddle shoes. They'd be just right for back to school, but I know full well it's just wishing. Money's too tight for new shoes. Yeah, hold on. Oops. Oh, by the way, that's a neat, I'm glad I did that, that was accident. But one thing I wanted to show you with Epic is if there's a word you don't know, you can click on them and it'll read it to you. So if you come to a word you don't know how to read, it'll tell you. Some of them, they'll say it out loud. It'll also give you the definition of it, and then some of them will read to you. Okay. When I get home, Mama opens the package. Winslow's shoes are in good shape, she said. She hands them to my brother Clayton. That's the way we always hand them down. Winslow's shoes go to Clayton, Charlotte's go to me. I clean Charlotte's old shoes, but when I put them on, they pinch my toes. I show Mama. Mama sighs, well, we'll just have to scrape together money for new shoes. Shoes I pick out myself? I can't believe it. On Saturday, we're going to Johnson's. On Saturday morning when we walk in, the bell jingles. Mr. Johnson looks our way. Behind us, the door jingles again. A girl with yellow curls walks in with her daddy. Mr. Johnson heads toward them. Mama and I walk to the back of the store and stand against the wall. That blonde-haired girl tried on shoes posing right in front of the mirror. I sigh. Weren't we here first? But I know colored people always have to wait. Finally, the girl's daddy buys her a new pair of shoes and they leave. How may I help you? Mr. Johnson says to us. I point to a display of saddle shoes. I want to try those on, sir, I say. I hear Mama suck in her breath. Oh, we'll do something different, Ella May, she says. We'll make a picture of your feet for Mr. Johnson. But, I start to say, pencil and paper are over there, gal, Mr. Johnson says to Mama. Mama traces my feet. Mr. Johnson takes the paper and comes back with a shoebox. Mama holds the shoes next to me. Mr. Johnson fidgets. Yes, I think those will fit, Mama says, and she counts out money. Rain is pouring down when we leave. Mama snaps open her umbrella. Mama, I say, can't colored folks try on shoes? Mama sighs, no, but then she puts on a smile. Let's think about how nice your feet will look for school. I like my shoes, but it isn't fair that the other girl can try them on and I can't. Mama and I walk on together, listening to the rain. Okay, I'm going to stop there for a second. I want you guys to think about, first of all, some of the story elements, the characters, the setting. So where did the first part of the story mostly take place? And what is the problem in this story? What's happening so far? You can jot it down on your whiteboard. So take about a minute or so and write down who the characters are, main characters. That means who is it mostly about? Where are they? So the setting. And what is the problem in the story so far? Raven, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, so Raven, can you tell me something about the story that you can remember that has happened so far?
The blonde girl got to try on some shoes.
That's right, but what about the other girl?
She wasn't able to try on the shoes. She had to trace her feet.
That's right. She could not try on the shoes. She had to trace her foot so that they can find a pair of shoes that fit. Do you remember what the girl's name is that wasn't allowed to try on the shoes? Her name is Ella May. Ella May. So she is one of the main characters in the story. And where were they looking at shoes at? Do you remember, Raven? What place?
The shoe store.
That's right. That is the setting. That's the place that this is happening right now. So we have character Ella May, and her mom's in there too, but her mom's not a huge main character. The setting is the shoe store. And then who knows, who can share what the problem is so far? David?
That colored people can't try on shoes because, well, just that, because yeah, just colored people can't try on shoes.
Okay, there you go. Colored people cannot try on shoes in this story. All right, so we have a problem. So let's see what events happen next and how does this problem get fixed. Okay, so the next day in the schoolyard, I show Christine my shoes. But then, oops, hold on a second, guys. Let me let Eva in. Good morning, Eva. Can you hear me? Okay, we'll let her get caught up there. The next day in the schoolyard, I show Charlotte my shoes, but then I tell about what happened at Johnson's. Charlotte nods. That happened to me too, she whispers. Even though I have new shoes, I feel bad most of the day. But then during spelling, I have an idea. I tell Charlotte as we walk home. Yes, she says, I'll help. Okay, let's see what they do. So Charlotte and I do chores. We scrub, we pick the last green beans, we mind babies. Most folks say they can't pay much. Never mind, I say, we'll work for a nickel and a pair of outgrown shoes. At the end of the month, we line up all of the shoes on the empty shelves in the old barn next to our house. Charlotte scoops up the coins. I'll go buy the polish, she says. While she is gone, I clean the shoes with soft rags. Then I pull out all the dirty shoelaces. I wash them in lots of soapy water until the water squeezes off them clean. I hang the laces on the clothesline to dry in the sun. Charlotte comes running back. I call red, she says. She uses a nickel to pry open the red tin, and I open the black. I take a pair of shoes and rub the polish in. Then I scrunch up my hand inside, smoothing out all the wrinkles and buff the shoes until they shine. The sun has dried the laces now. I thread them back through the holes. Charlotte holds up the shiny red Mary Jane that she has been buffing. Almost as good as new, she says proudly. The neighbors know we are ready to open even before the paint on our sign is dry. Ella May and Charlotte's shoes, it says, price 10 cents and another used pair. Mrs. Douglas peeps in the barn door holding little Laura's hand. Right behind them, I see more neighbors coming. Look at this, Mrs. Douglas marvels. No need to go to Johnson's now. Then she hesitates. The last time the shoes from Johnson's gave my Laura blisters, she says. Can she try on these to see which one fits best? Charlotte and I smile. We hold our heads up proud. Yes, ma'am, she can, I say loud and clear. In our store, anyone who walks in the door can try on all the shoes they want. And that is the end of the story. Okay, so let's go back to where we left off. So we knew the problem was that colored people are not allowed to try on shoes in Johnson's store. So what are some of the events that happened after the shoe store visit? And then how does Ella May solve her problem about not being able to try on shoes? So I'll give you a minute or so to write down some of the events. And then how is the problem solved? So write them on your whiteboard. Okay, let's see. What is an event that happened after the shoe store visit? What is the first major event? Riley, you want to share with us?
Not yet.
Okay. Willie?
I'm not done writing.
Okay. All right. I'll give you guys some more time. Raven, are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay. Do you want to tell me something that happened after Ella May left the shoe store?
She talked to her friend at school.
Okay. What do you think she's telling her friend now?
Maybe we should open our own shoe store.
Okay, she's sharing her idea that she came up with about opening their own shoe store. Thank you, Raven. Okay, so now we know that the girls have an idea. What are they doing on this page? David, what's going on this page?
They're doing chores to get the old shoes.
Okay, this is the way that they're going to get shoes for their store. They're asking people for a nickel and a pair of outgrown shoes so that they have money to buy things to clean up the shoes, but they also have shoes to clean up. All right, so they are working hard to get those shoes ready. And then once they have those shoes ready, what is an event that happens at the end? Willie, you want to share? What's something that happens toward the end of the story?
They make their own shoe store that anyone can try on shoes and see if they fit.
Okay, so this is part of the solution Riley, I'll let you share. It looks like you want to share something. Go ahead, Riley.
They get their shoe store all ready. Like they have their shoe store all done, and now they let everybody go in, and everybody can try on whatever shoes they want.
That's right. And how do they pay for the shoes? What do they have to pay? Do you remember?
10 cents.
And something else.
Another used pair.
That's right. Where was that on? Was it on this page? I don't remember. Oh, yes, there it is, right there. Perfect. So this is the solution. The problem is that the colored people couldn't try on shoes in Mr. Johnson's store. So these girls decided, you know what? We're going to make our own store, and anybody can come to our store and try on shoes to make sure they fit before they buy them. So these girls were very innovative, meaning they were creative. They came up with their own idea to solve the problem about not being able to try on shoes. So you might be thinking, well, why are we talking about these things in the story? Well, this week we're going to move from our opinion writing that we've been doing to the narrative writing. Let me go back to what the narrative writing is. Remember, narrative writing is a fiction story, and it has all of these things that we just talked about. It has characters. It has a setting. That means a place or a time. Oh, who is somebody asking me a question? No? Yes? Okay. It has characters, setting, problem, events, and a solution. And the reason why I wanted to remind you guys about these parts of a story is because you're going to write a narrative story later this week. And I want you to really understand the details that go into a story. It doesn't just say, there was Peppa the pig at the beach. Peppa forgot her swim floaties. Mom gave her one and she got in the water and that was it. So that's a story. It had characters, it had a setting, it had a problem. It was missing the events, really, and then it did have a solution. But it wasn't that interesting because it didn't give you a lot of detail. So we're going to explore stories this week that do have lots of detail so that you can write your own story later this week. Okay, so your assignments today are fairly easy because we were just introducing this today. DLA, your phonics in MobyMax, language arts for future tense verbs. Remember, verbs that happen later. And then I do want you to log in to read for your reading. I'm not going to have you do any a writing yet on narrative writing because I want you to do your iStation, your ISIP test in iStation because we're in February now, and if you haven't done your February ISIP test, I want that finished. And if you have, then you'll just work for about 20 to 30 minutes on iStation reading. Then try to explore getepic.com and find a story to read. As you look through those stories, a fiction story, look for those story elements, the characters and the setting, the problem, the solution. Okay, so pretty easy stuff today. I just wanted to get you started on some stories. So, do I have any questions before I give you the exit ticket? Questions? No? Alrighty, guys, your exit ticket's pretty easy. In the chat, I want you to write at least 2 story elements that are needed in narrative writing or in storytelling. What were some of the things I was just asking you about? I want you to write it in the chat, and then you may go and work on your assignments today. Riley, do you have a question for me?
Yes, are you talking about in that story that we just read?
No, just what are